She had discovered a secret months ago from a medical report Henry had hidden in his jeans pocket.
I know the truth, Ava said. You are the reason we do not have children, not me. I am done with this marriage.
In the quiet village of Dara, where the wind rustles through the mango trees and red dust rises beneath bare feet, a young woman named Ava stood as the beacon of hope for her family. The third of 3 children, Ava had always been different, a dreamer with a fierce determination. Her parents had given everything to see her succeed, even though their modest pensions from years of teaching barely kept food on the table. Ava excelled in school, rising to the top of her class, driven by the belief that she could change her family's fortunes. Her elder brothers, Paul and Mark, worked odd jobs to support her education. They always said, "Ava will be our star." Graduation day had come, and the whole village celebrated. The sky was painted with joy and hope as Ava returned to Dara, but the excitement was short-lived. Jobs were scarce, and she soon found herself roasting fish at a nearby snack bar to help support her family while waiting for the opportunity that would change their lives. It was here, at this small snack bar, where Ava's fate took a turn. Every day, the wealthy businessman Henry would arrive in his sleek car, always in the company of laughter, women, and extravagance. He had a magnetic charm that was hard to ignore. For weeks he watched Ava, intrigued by her quiet strength. She was different from the women he knew, untouched by the world of glamour and deceit. "Ava," he said one day, his voice smooth as silk, "you deserve better than this. Let me take care of you. I can give you a life you've only dreamed of." Ava resisted at first, uncertain of Henry's intentions. But his persistence was unwavering. He told her he had been searching for a woman like her, someone who could anchor him, someone who could help him become a better man. After months of persuasion, Henry's promises finally wore her down. She thought of her family, of how his wealth could help lift them out of poverty. With hope in her heart and visions of a brighter future, she agreed to marry him. But what she didn't know was that she was stepping into a gilded cage. Ava's life with Henry began like a fairy tale. He bought her expensive clothes, draped her in jewels, and paraded her at the grandest events in the city. The mansion he brought her to was a world away from her modest home in Dara. But even as she was surrounded by luxury, something was missing: freedom. Henry's kindness quickly turned to control. He chose her clothes, decided where she went, and slowly began to isolate her from her family. "You're not like them anymore," he'd say, reminding her of a life he'd rescued her from. Despite her growing discomfort, Ava clung to the hope that things would change. Then came the news that shattered her world. Her father had fallen gravely ill. Desperate to help, Ava turned to Henry for support. "Please," she begged, her voice trembling. "He needs surgery. Can you help?" Henry looked at her coldly. "I don't have money for that," he said. His indifference was a knife to her heart. The man she thought would save her had revealed his true face. When her father died, Ava realized that all the wealth in the world could not save her from the prison she was living in. The days that followed were dark. Henry's indifference turned into cruelty. He began to flaunt his affairs with other women, often bringing them into their home. "Go to the guest room," he'd say coldly, forcing Ava to hide in shame while he entertained his lovers. But Ava's spirit, though bruised, was not broken. She knew she had to reclaim her life. She reached out to Henry's old friend, Paul, who had always shown her compassion. He promised to help her, and within 2 months, Ava had secured a job at a tech company. When she told Henry, his reaction was pure rage. "You dare defy me," he spat. "You think you can work without my permission? It was my connections that got you the job." I want 90% of your salary every month." Ava was speechless. The man who had promised her the world now demanded her hard-earned money. But this time, Ava would not bend. She refused, knowing that her path to freedom had already begun. The tension between them worsened with every passing day. Henry's cruelty knew no bounds. He mocked her family, calling them lowlives, unworthy of his wealth. He belittled her at every opportunity, blaming her for everything wrong in their marriage, including their inability to have children. Then one night, after yet another argument, Ava packed her things and quietly left the mansion. She returned to her family in Dara, where the air felt lighter, the love more real. Her mother held her tightly. No words were needed. Their hearts spoke volumes. But Henry would not let go so easily. He called for a family meeting, intending to humiliate her. Surrounded by relatives, he shouted, "She's barren, useless. I picked her from the gutters, and now look at her, ungrateful." Ava's hands trembled, but she stood tall. She had discovered a secret months ago from a medical report Henry had hidden in his jeans pocket. She said, her voice steady, "I know the truth. You're the reason we don't have children, not me." The room fell silent. Henry's face turned pale as Ava's words sliced through his pride. For the first time, the power shifted. "I am done with this marriage," she declared, her voice resolute. "I'm taking back my life." Ava returned to Dara for good, where she began to rebuild her life. She thrived in her job, and with every step forward, she felt her strength returning. She started a women's group in the village, helping others who had suffered in silence like she once had. Her spirit, once crushed under the weight of Henry's cruelty, soared higher than ever. She had found herself again, and in doing so, she had become the woman she was always meant to be, strong, resilient, unbreakable. One evening, as the sun set over Dara, Ava stood in the village square, her heart full of peace. She addressed the group of women she had gathered, her voice steady and sure. "No one can take away your worth," she said. "Not wealth, not power, and certainly not a marriage built on lies. We are stronger than the chains that try to bind us." And with those words, Ava's story came full circle. She was no longer the girl who had once dreamed of escaping poverty. She was a woman who had risen from the ashes of her past, stronger and more determined than ever. The moral of this story emphasizes the importance of knowing your worth and not allowing others to define or diminish it. Ava's journey teaches that true strength comes from within, not from external wealth or relationships. It also teaches resilience in adversity. Despite the numerous hardships Ava faced, the loss of her father, betrayal, and emotional abuse, she remains resilient. Her ability to reclaim her life after leaving a toxic situation shows the power of perseverance. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment.